Welcome to Fireside Chat. My name is Sai. During my 20s, I never thought it was possible to save $100,000. It wasn't that I didn't want to save money, I just didn't know where to start. I was so consumed with my credit card debt, auto loan, and personal loans. I'm making this video to encourage you to shift your mindset to pay yourself first. Before I joined the financial independence journey, I never realized how much money I was wasting on credit card interest and things I didn't need. If you watched one of my other videos, I showed you the timeline of how I reached $100,000 in assets when I turned 32. This strategy applies to anyone with any age. As far as how long it takes to get to your first $100,000 will depend on your income and your savings rate. You might think that earning $50,000 or $60,000 a year is impossible to save money, but I can tell you that it is entirely possible to save $100,000 with $50,000 or $60,000 in income. Let me show you the accounts I opened to start my FIRE journey to reach $100,000. Keep in mind that I had around $500 in cash when I started the FIRE journey because I had just paid off $110,000 in debt. In 2016, I opened a separate savings account with Ally Bank and I named the account in case of emergency break glass. It took me about almost 10 paychecks to fully fund my emergency fund. That was $15,000 at the time, and that included 3 months of my monthly expenses if I lost my job and additional out-of-pocket expenses like the car insurance deductible and medical bills. Because I paid off my debt, I had the extra cash flow to save about $1,500 every paycheck into my Ally Bank high yield savings account just for an emergency use. I felt so financially safe and secure because if anything had happened to my job or my body for a medical emergency, I had the cash set aside in this account to use for anything unexpected or necessary. Again, this account is only used for anything unexpected and necessary. The next account I opened in the same year was my travel fund. Having a travel fund is extremely important to me because I never want to take out debt ever again just to travel home or other places I want to visit. Since 2016, I traveled to Washington, D.C., Disney World, Universal Studios in Orlando, Disney Cruise to the Bahamas, Oahu and the Big Island in Hawaii, New York City, Seattle, Disneyland. You get the idea now. By the end of 2017, I managed to save about $12,000 just in the travel fund. Since this is technically a spending account, I keep the balance between $5,000 and $6,000 at any time. If the balance goes lower than $5,000, then I increase my bi-weekly contributions to make sure I can meet the savings goal for each year. Another account I opened was my Roth IRA. At the time, I was still under the income limit to directly contribute to the Roth IRA. Keep in mind that a Roth IRA is completely separate from the 401k I had with my employer. In 2016, I contributed to my 401k up to the employer match, which was 6% of my paycheck. So that's a total of $10,500 with the employer match. I also contributed $5,500 to my Roth IRA because that was the contribution limit in 2016. I felt safe with my Roth IRA because I could withdraw any of that $5,500 I contributed to the Roth IRA. That was the money that came directly from my checking account, so the IRS couldn't tax me twice for the contributions I made to the Roth IRA. Looking back at my total assets I held at the time, and yes, I keep a very detailed record of my finances, by the end of 2016, I had $15,500 in my emergency fund, $3,000 in my travel fund, $14,000 in my 401k, and $6,300 in my Roth IRA. The total assets I had, not including my house, was $38,800 by the end of 2016. By the way, if you need help with your personal finances, you can schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting firesidechat.com/coaching. You can also get our absolutely free financial resources by visiting firesidechat.com/contact. As my income continued to increase going into 2017, I decided to max out my 401k at $18,000 that year or $692 every paycheck. And my employer contributed $4,200 or $161 every paycheck. The IRA contribution limit remained the same at $5,500, so that was about $211 every paycheck that went to the Roth IRA. However, I no longer had access to the money that went to my Roth IRA, and let me tell you why. My modified adjusted gross income exceeded the IRA income limits for the year 2017. I had to open a traditional IRA so I could do what's called a backdoor Roth IRA strategy. Basically, it's a non-deductible contribution from my bank account to the traditional IRA, and then convert that contribution from traditional IRA to the Roth IRA. Since this is a backdoor Roth IRA, I have to wait 5 years to touch the $5,500 I converted in 2017. Now that it's 2022, I can actually withdraw that money if I absolutely have to. However, I don't have any intention to withdraw any Roth money at this time. You can also check out the detailed video I made about the backdoor Roth IRA strategy. My investment strategy for 401k and IRA was simple. They all went into the S&P 500 and the US total stock market index funds. 2017 was a great year for the stock market. The S&P 500 finished with 18% by the end of that year. Since I dollar cost averaged my investments into the 401k and IRA, my total return for that year was 14.5%, which was above average of the benchmark I set to 8% average annual return. By the end of 2017, the balance for my emergency fund remained the same as 2016 at about $15,500. My travel fund increased from $3,000 to $9,000. My 401k balance increased from $14,000 to $41,000. My Roth IRA balance increased from $6,300 to almost $13,000. I also invested $15,000 into the Vanguard Stock Market Index Fund, ticker symbol VTSAX, into my taxable brokerage account. The ending balance of the taxable brokerage account was about $18,300. The total balance at the end of 2017 was $96,800. That's an increase from $38,800 to $96,800, or 149% increase from year over year. You see how I increased my savings rate and I got a tremendous stock market return in the same year? The bull market run continued throughout the first half of 2018. I used the baseline investment strategy from 2017 by contributing $18,500 to my 401k, which increased by $500 from 2017, and $5,500 to my Roth IRA using a backdoor Roth IRA strategy. The only strategy I changed was increasing my contribution to my taxable brokerage account. I increased my contribution from $15,000 a year to about $32,000 that year. I also decided to open a separate taxable brokerage account that tracked income-based securities or the dividend stocks. I did a detailed video on the 5 dividend stocks I invest in, so you can check out that video in the description below. By February 2018, my total balance reached $100,000 in retirement and non-retirement assets. I thought at the time, wow, this FIRE investment strategy is really working. So going from $0 to $100,000 seemed quick and easy in this video, but it really wasn't that quick and easy. The most difficult thing to do is to budget after I have maximized my contributions with my 401k and IRA. It takes several months to analyze my outgoing expenses and breaking them down between discretionary and non-discretionary expenses. Automating my savings absolutely helped me, because as soon as I had my paychecks come in, half of that, or 50% of that paycheck, went into my savings and investment accounts. My IRA was set to automatic transfers on a bi-weekly basis. I set my 401k to a certain percentage out of my paycheck to maximize the contribution. I set up automatic transfers from my checking account to the 2 taxable brokerage accounts. I also automated my purchases with index funds every 2 weeks inside the Roth IRA. The only thing I had to manually do is buying individual stocks and ETFs. You're probably wondering if it's possible for you to save your first $100,000. The first challenge many people face is staying debt-free and not carrying any credit card balances month over month. And trust me when I say this, that I felt a tremendous guilt and shame for having that much debt in the past. I had a serious spending problem, and I couldn't save 50% of my income because I didn't track my expenses on a weekly basis. I encourage you as the audience to stop judging other people for how they got into debt in the first place. We don't know everyone's situation, right? It's not our place to pass judgment on their financial situations. I want to challenge you to analyze your expenses and savings each month. Making a debt payoff plan or an investment plan can be extremely stressful if you don't know where to begin. I want to help people, and this is why I created this channel, to continue to educate you and anyone else who may be wondering how to save their first $100,000. You can even go a step further by signing up the free 20-minute financial coaching session at firesidechat.com/coaching. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.